It is not your fault you're fat, but at the end of the day, it is your responsibility. It is not your fat your fault, but it is your responsibility to change it. You did not choose the food system that profits off your cravings. You did not choose the 9 to 5 lifestyle that keeps you sitting for 10 hours a day. And you did not choose to grow up in a world where convenience comes before your health. But just like it's not your fault when it rains, it is still your responsibility to grab an umbrella so you don't get wet, right? So before we get into it, I've helped hundreds of busy men, including dads, husbands, and high performers, lose 30 to 50 pounds, rebuild their confidence, and take control of their lives again. So in today's live stream, I'm going to break down exactly why it is not your fault you're overweight, but why taking responsibility is the only way out. So in today's video, we'll cover 3 exact things. Number 1, how society engineered your habits to keep you fat. Number 2, the mindset shift that separates victims from leaders. And then lastly is simple, proven lifestyle changes that get you results fast. So by the end of this video, you'll understand why society wants to keep you fat, but then more importantly, you'll have the exact system you need in order to start taking action right away. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. Starting with point number 1, the system was built to keep you fat. So let's just be honest here. The system doesn't care about your health. It cares about your attention and your addiction. Every food company, from cereal to fast foods to all these other food companies you see out there, the harsh truth, which is something that I had to learn the hard way, and you guys should probably realize this as well, they hire very smart food scientists to find what's called the bliss point. Now you're probably wondering to yourself, Conan, what is the bliss point? Now this is like the exact mix of the sugars, the salts, the fats that make you crave even more, right? Like as soon as you're done eating a cookie, you're more than likely want to eat another cookie, right? Or as soon as you're done eating a handful of chips, you're more than likely want to eat another handful of chips, right? Same thing with burgers, fries, pizzas, donuts. Like these foods are quite literally engineered to make you want to eat even more of it, right? Now, if you compare these types of foods, which are hyper palatable processed foods, engineered once again to keep you addicted to them, and if you were to compare that to just natural single ingredient foods that just come from the ground, right, or from animals, right, like fruits, veggies, proteins, healthy fats, whole grains, they're not really designed or engineered to like make you want to eat even more of it, right? Like as soon as you're done eating a chicken breast, you're pretty satisfied, right? Like it's like I'm pretty full after eating like a balanced meal of you got some lean proteins. Let's say you got a steak there, you got a couple of eggs, maybe you have some fruit on the side, maybe you have some vegetables. Like after you're done eating that, like not only do you feel absolutely amazing afterwards and ready to attack the day, but you're pretty content, right? It's not like you're gonna binge eat on a steak, right? Or binge eat on a salad. Like no one says that. It's unheard of, right? Whereas if you were to swap that for highly processed foods, it's like that's where most people tend to binge on their diet, right? That's where most people tend to cheat on their diet. So these food scientists have quite literally engineered these hyperpalatable processed foods to make them as addictive as possible, ranging from the taste to the ingredients, all the way up to the texture in your mouth, right? Imagine eating a cookie right now, fresh out of the oven, right? It's got the chewy inside, the crispy outside. It's got like the texture in your mouth, the chocolate chips melt in your mouth. It's just so addicting, right? Like just the thought of me thinking about a freshly baked chocolate chip cookie, it's making me hungry, right? And so food scientists have quite literally thought about every single step to make this as highly palatable and super addictive as possible. So just know that it is not your lack of willpower. It is just neuroscience, right? And you're being chemically engineered to, unfortunately, overeat. You walk through a grocery store nowadays and everything is marketed as healthy or low fat or high protein. And at the end of the day, this is all just like marketing scam, right? Because if you actually look on the back of the label, which I have all of my clients do, no matter what the grocery store says, no matter what the label says, always make sure that you look at the back of each label, the back of the packet, look at the ingredients, look at the macros. And what you'll see is that it's more than likely going to be loaded with sugar, seed oils, and preservatives that keep you coming back like a slot machine, right? You buy it once and guess what? You come back again. And when you gain the weight, unfortunately, the medical industry profits from that as well. The supplement companies profit from that, right? Even the fitness industry profits off your insecurity, selling you quick fixes they know won't actually last, right? You are the customer and the product at the same time. And once you realize that, you kind of hopefully understand that it's not really a good situation to be in, right? But I think so many people just go through life being unaware of this, right? How, okay, they get the junk food, they're addicted to the junk food, they gain all the weight, they go to their doctor. Their doctor, what do they tell you? They don't tell you to just eat healthy, move more. I mean, hopefully they do, but more than likely they're going to give you a pill, right? And then the medical industry profits off you. So not only does the food industry profit off you, but the medical industry profits off you as well, right? So now that you kind of understand that you're in this kind of like little bubble, that's the first most important part, right? Now that you understand all of this, now we can actually create a game plan together to help you, at the very least, be aware of this and then also hopefully get you out of this, right? But I just want you guys to know this. It is not your fault that you were set up to fail. But now that you're aware of this, staying there, that is on you. So here's the exact mindset shift that I need you to have. So here's the truth. Life is not fair, right? But neither is success. It is not your fault it rains, like I said at the start of this video, but it is your responsibility to grab an umbrella and keep on walking, right? Because complaining about the weather does not automatically make it stop, right? It does not make the rain stop. It is not your fault your parents didn't teach you how to eat right. It is not your fault your job forces you to sit down all day. Just like it's not your fault that fast food is cheaper than fresh food. But at the end of the day, life isn't fair, but it is your responsibility to learn, to move, and to make better choices anyway. Winners don't look for blame, they look for control. You can't control the system, but what you can control is your response to it. And that is where real transformation begins. So here are 3 tactical tips that you can start implementing right away as soon as you're done watching this live call that will hopefully make a huge difference within your life without really making any huge changes or sacrifices to your lifestyle. These are just some small little things you can start implementing right away to take control back over your health again. So you don't need to completely overhaul your life overnight. You just need to start pulling the right levers. So number 1, reshape your environment. If you guys are followers of my channel, you guys probably hear me say this all the time. You do not need more willpower. You do not need more discipline. You just need to prime your environment to make the healthy choice the easy choice, right? So, for example, if your kitchen is full of snacks, guess what you're going to do? You're going to snack more often, right? Whereas if you remove the friction between you and good decisions, you're going to be making better decisions, right? So instead of having snacks, sugary foods, sugary cereals, all these other things in your pantry, in your fridge, all these things, stock your fridge with lean proteins, meal prep, fruits, and veggies, right? You can't rely on willpower, but you can rely on structure. This is the easiest thing that once I started living on my own, I did. And it just made a huge difference because also like when it's out of sight, it's out of mind. So let's say you were really hungry right now, right? And all you have in your fridge is just healthy meals. You got some meal prep, you got some fruits and veggies. Guess what you're naturally going to eat or gravitate towards? You're naturally going to gravitate towards the foods that are most convenient inside in mind. So that'll likely be a piece of fruit, maybe an apple, some strawberries, or some meal prep, right? Whereas if you were to change that and you were in an environment, in a kitchen, in a cupboard that is just full of highly processed junk food and you were really hungry, guess what you're naturally going to gravitate more towards just because it's really convenient? You're probably going to gravitate towards the cookies, the chips, the ice cream, right? Because it's just inside, it's in mind, and it's convenient, right? So if you can make it as inconvenient as possible to eat junk food and as convenient as possible to eat healthy food, you will never have to rely on willpower ever again because you're just simply living your life and you're just making the healthy choice, the easy choice, essentially, right? Like I go throughout my day and I never rely on my motivation. I never rely on my willpower. Like, because that's obviously like really taxing and it's obviously requires a lot more work. So if you guys just look at my lifestyle, right, and I try to showcase as much as I can behind the scenes on like my Instagram channel, my Facebook channel, my Snapchat as well specifically, I would showcase everything with you guys, like behind the scenes of what my like a typical day in my life looks like. And you guys will probably notice that I'm just enjoying life. I'm having fun. Like I'm not relying on willpower. I'm just living my life. I'm obviously doing my job. I'm helping my clients absolutely crush their goals. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, like my fridge, it's just filled with healthy food. I have a bunch of meal prep in my fridge right now. So as soon as I'm done with this live stream, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to literally walk over there. You guys can literally see my fridge behind me. I'm going to go into the freezer. I'm going to grab my meal prep. I'm going to microwave it for about 2-3 minutes, and then boom, I'm going to eat it. How convenient is that, right? Whereas if I actually, and if you guys actually play this out, if I truly actually wanted to eat some junk food, I'm like, okay, you know what? Screw the meal prep. I want junk food. Okay, awesome. How many steps do I have to take in order for me to go from where I am right now, doing this live stream with you guys, to me actually getting junk food? There are so many steps involved, right? Let's play it out. Okay, I got to put on my shoes. I got to go downstairs. I got to grab my car keys. I got to drive 15 minutes to the nearest grocery store or to the nearest fast food place, right? And then I got to stand in line, or I got to wait through drive-through, right? And then I got to grab my wallet. I got to pay the person. I got to order something. I got to wait in line for them to make it. And then once I have it, let's say I want to eat back at home. I got to drive all the way back home again, 15 minutes. And then I got to put it on a plate. I got to grab my utensils. I got to grab my water because I want to stay hydrated when I eat my meal. Maybe I want to put on a good show when I eat something, who knows? And then I finally get to sit down and eat. How many steps are involved there? I just listed out 10, 15, 20 steps from where I am right now to me actually getting the junk food. And I'll be honest with you guys, I'm a lazy person. Like, I'm all about convenience. I said this in one of my other live calls, but like, I have a gym membership that's like 30 minutes away. I'm honestly like, I'm too lazy to like drive there every single day, especially given my workout splits where I'm currently practicing for a high rocks event. Now I'm going to be doing a marathon later on. Like, my training demands are very, very high, right? And the last thing I want to do is sit in my car for 30 minutes there and then 30 minutes back just in order to train, right? Like, there's so many steps involved. Whereas now, like, I just work out in my apartment gym. It's like a 2 minutes commute, if you even want to call it that, up the elevator, up the stairs, and then boom, I'm in the gym. I do a quick little warm up and then boom, I'm ready to go. Right? So how convenient is that for me? So I'm a naturally really lazy person. So I've just kind of created this environment for myself where literally my workouts, my diets, everything that are conducive towards me achieving my goals are so easy to do. So easy, so frictionless, so effortless. Right? So ask yourself this question: how easy is it for you to currently eat healthy right now? Is it super easy? Do you have your meal prep in your fridge? Or is it very difficult? You got a bunch of junk food in your fridge. You can fix that right away. Out of sight, out of mind. And now again, if you're living with other people, if you're living with your kids, if you're living with your spouse, a couple of roommates, whatever, at the very least, ask them to do one of two things. Number one, lock it up so you physically do not have access to the junk food. Or number two, just have them hide it, right? Maybe behind some of the things in the pantry, just so it's out of sight and out of mind, right? When I used to live with roommates, I had them do this exact same thing. Actually, I didn't. Like, I was fine just seeing it. I just didn't eat it. But if I really lacked willpower and motivation, I would ask them to do one of those two things, right? I'd either have them lock it up or I'd have them at the very least hide it. Out of sight, out of mind. So ask yourself this question once again: how easy for me is it to eat healthy? How easy for me is it to do my workouts, to just live this healthy, active lifestyle? The easier you can make it for yourself, obviously, the easier it'll be to obviously do it, right? And that'll lead me on to point number two: build movements into your day. I totally get it. You live a sedentary lifestyle, you have a desk job, you work a 9 to 5, and you cannot just go throughout life, at least Monday through Friday, constantly being on your feet, right? I have a couple buddies of mine who also have like a similar desk job, but they actually recently invested into one of these walking pads, which I know not everyone has access to that, and not everyone can just install that into either if you're working remotely from home or even like at the job at the desk, especially in the office. You can't just do that, right? So I totally get it. And even myself, like, you guys probably don't notice, but like, I like my job is a sedentary lifestyle as well. Like, I have a desk job basically. Like, I sit down most of the day taking sales calls with my clients, with prospects, building programs. Like, I am literally sitting here most of the day, right? Apart from obviously when I do my workout and stuff, but I still make it a priority within my day, within my life, to get movement in, right? Whether that's a morning walk first thing in the morning. Maybe I have to wake up a bit earlier before my work, before my shift starts, and I go on a morning walk, right? Just to get some fresh air. Or I go on a lunch break walk, right? In between meetings, in between whatever, go on a quick little walk to get some fresh air, right? Even if I'm sitting down and I'm super busy, just taking 5 minutes to stand up and stretch, right? Stretch your legs out a bit. Walk up and down the office, the hallway, right? just do something, right? Evening walk as well, 100%. Like if it is a priority for you, you will make time for it one way or another. And especially when it comes to walking, you can combine this with something else just so you don't feel super unproductive. So typically, if I can, whenever I know I have like a phone call scheduled, well, instead of me just sitting down taking the phone call, why not take that phone call while just like browsing around, while walking in the park, while walking outside, right? You can very easily do that, right? Instead of doing sit down meetings, do walking meetings, right? If you're going to be texting some people, if you have to do some work on your phone, well, do that while walking on a treadmill, for example. Here's another good one, or two really good ones. I make a rule to myself. I love listening to podcasts. I am addicted to listening to podcasts, anything self help, from health to fitness to entrepreneurship to even like some random things. Like I love listening to podcasts. I listen to, on average, maybe one podcast a day, but I make a rule to myself that I can only listen to podcasts while I'm outside going on a walk, right? That is my only caveats there. If I want to listen to a podcast, which I love doing, I can only do that while I'm walking outside or at least getting steps in, right? So now what I've done here is I've combined an activity, listening to a podcast that I really enjoy doing and I look forward to doing every single day, with something that is physically active, like going on a walk, going on a run, going on a jog, right? It's doing a workout, right? So I basically get to pair something I enjoy with something that I know I have to do in order to do that thing that I really enjoy, right? That's a quick little hack for you. Make a rule to yourself that if you love listening to podcasts, that you can only listen to the podcast while you're outside getting your steps in. And what's so cool about this is that you literally get to kill multiple birds with one stone. Hopefully not actually, but you know what I mean, right? It's a saying. So where essentially you get to learn something new, hopefully from the podcast you're listening to, while simultaneously getting in your steps. And guess what happens when you get more steps in? You burn more calories, right? Maybe if it's like sunny outside, maybe you get some vitamin D as well. You get some fresh air as well. During the summertime, I like to walk with my shirt off, so I get to tan my body as well. So I literally get to learn something, burn calories, work in my tan, and get vitamin D while doing all these things. So I literally get to burn or kill four birds with one stone, essentially. No, I'm not actually killing birds here, right? I love birds. I will never kill a bird, right? Even if I could, like I would never do that. But as you guys can tell, I am pairing something with something else. Another thing here is if you guys have access to like a treadmill at home, one of the things I heard one of my other colleagues actually talk about or say was, if you love watching Netflix, if you watching YouTube, same principles apply. Make a rule to yourself that you can only watch that Netflix show, you can only watch that YouTube video while you're on the Stairmaster doing your cardio, while you're on the treadmill doing your cardio, right? Because now this way, once again, you combine something you really look forward to, like watching that YouTube video, with something that is maybe not as exciting, like walking, getting your steps in, right? So you don't need a gym membership or like 2-hour sessions. Just start walking, right? 8 to 10,000 steps every single day will make a huge, huge impact to your overall health and weight loss goals, right? So think of it this way. Think of your body like a business. So if you don't invest into it, it depreciates, right? If you don't use it, you lose it. And that'll lead me on to point number 3 that you can start implementing right away. And that is this: anchor your meals. Most guys fail because every single day looks different. Whereas if you eat the same 2 to 3 just core meals Monday through Friday, you're going to notice some huge, huge changes. I know it's boring, and that's exactly why it works, right? Because predictability beats motivation every single time. And this also just relieves you from having to think about what to eat for breakfast every single morning, what to eat for lunch every single lunchtime, what to eat for dinner every single evening, right? If you can just have predictable meals, at the very least Monday through Friday, it'll take all the guesswork out of it. You know exactly what you're going to be eating. You know exactly hopefully how many calories are within those meals, the macros, and you know exactly that, hey, if I just eat these same 2 to 3 meals every single day, at least Monday through Friday, when I'm already busy and like just doing my job and I don't want to be thinking about food, I know I'm going to be hitting my goals, right? And this also saves you from like having to think about what foods to eat, and then also makes your grocery shop a lot easier because you can just get the same kind of core foods every single time. Now, of course, you can kind of vary this up week to week, which I typically do myself as well. And then obviously on the weekends, the foods can be slightly different, but at the very least, I think it makes sense for a lot of people, especially busy guys who have just jobs that they work Monday through Friday to just keep the same meals every single day. It'll take all the guesswork out of just your routine. You'll save a bunch of money as well from having to like eat out and figure out like what to eat for lunch every single lunchtime. And you also save a ton of money, right? Because instead of you eating out every single lunch break, like now you have your meal prep, you have your meals ready to go, right? So you'll not only save money, you'll also be able to lose weight because you know exactly how many calories are within those meals, how many macros, and you know exactly that if I just eat these core meals, I will therefore hit my calories and macros for the day. And if I combine that with actually getting my steps in, 8 to 10,000 steps every single day, I'm going to be losing a ton of fat. Like the biggest needle movers when it comes to weight loss is by being in a calorie deficit. Like a lot of people stress over like, oh, what is the best workout program? What is the best workout split? Like, yes, working out, lifting weights definitely helps you build muscle, which is really, really important. But specifically when it comes to weight loss, just like losing weight, all you have to do is be in a calorie deficit. And you do that by eating less and moving more. It is that simple. So if you can start, and if you want some quick wins under your belt right away, start by moving your body more. Have a step count tracker, keep track of your daily steps, aim for 8 to 10,000 steps a day, which will help you burn roughly 400 to 500 calories extra a day. And if you combine it with just like proper nutrition, right, being in a calorie deficit, eating less calories than you burn on a daily basis, you're going to be melting fat off your body so quickly. And if you just focus on these two core things, right, you're going to be losing weight so fast. And then over time, of course, you can combine that if you have some more free time with maybe doing 2 resistance training workouts a week, right? You can even just start with doing home workouts, but we're not going to touch on that in this live stream. We'll definitely touch on that on a different live stream. But yeah, just focus on your daily steps and your nutrition. Do these 2 things, and I guarantee you, like, you're going to be seeing phenomenal results. So let me showcase some real client transformations before I wrap this live call up. So Tom, one of our clients, was a dad who worked 12-hour shifts, so super busy. He started literally just walking 50 minutes after dinner and then also swapping his sugary cereal for breakfast for having a couple eggs first thing in the morning. Guess what happened? He dropped 27 pounds in 10 weeks with no added cardio and then also no starvation, because the sugary cereal he would have every single morning, like I said at the start of this live call, it just made him want to eat even more cereal. So he did not just have one bowl, he had multiple bowls of cereal, right? Because like, yeah, like you eat a bowl of Fruit Loops, you eat a bowl of Lucky Charms, like that's not going to satisfy you. You're going to have multiple bowls of that because it's nice, it's sweet, it's sugary, right? And especially like as a kid, for me at least, like I would intentionally, like, I'm not sure if you guys used to do this, but whenever I would pour cereal, I always do the cereal first and then I pour the milk. If you do the milk first and then the cereal, you're a maniac. But yeah, cereal first and then the milk, and then I'd eat that. And I'd actually sometimes like let the cereal like soak into the milk just so it gets like a bit softer. I'm a weird person where like the texture of cereal, like I like it to be a bit like soggy in a way. This was like back when I was a kid. Like I haven't had cereal in years now. Like absolutely not. But then also I noticed that I would finish the cereal first before I would finish the milk. And so naturally, I didn't want to waste the milk, obviously. So guess what I would do? I would pour a second serving of cereal into that, right? Just so I could cover some of the rest leftover milk. So I'd have the second bowl of cereal, right? And then like maybe that would satisfy me for 1 or 2 hours. But then come 9 a.m., 10 a.m., right, during recess, I would be hungry again and then have another sugary snack. Right, I'd have a muffin, I'd have a cupcake. And the exact same thing happened with Tom, where he would have 2 bowls of cereal, a sugary bowl of cereal with his kid, but then come 10 a.m., he was hungry again, right? Whereas when we substituted that with just eating more a higher protein meal for breakfast, not only does it help you build more muscle or preserve muscle at the very least when you're in a calorie deficit, it also keeps you super satiated, keeps you super full. So he would literally have like 4 eggs for breakfast. He had some veggies on the side, a ton of water too, and that kept him so satiated all throughout lunchtime, right? And when lunch came around, he would have a healthier meal prep meal that we obviously made for him. And then when he combined that with just 15-minute walks after dinner, he literally lost 27 pounds in 10 weeks, right? Now let me talk to you about our client, Jeff. He was on planes every single week for work. He was traveling a bunch. So basically what we did for him is we built a travel survival plan, just a fancy word for just his program basically, where we incorporated protein shakes for him, easy hotel workouts that he could do at any hotel, simply just using his body weight, and then also calorie banking on the weekends, which calorie banking, actually had a separate video on this. I can definitely go a bit more on depth on this if you guys do have any specific questions on this. But yeah, it's a really, I won't say it's an advanced technique, but it's more of a mindful technique that anyone can start implementing right away if you notice that you tend to enjoy eating out a bit more often on the weekends, right? So calorie banking allows you to eat larger meals, bigger meals, tastier meals on the weekends while really being dialed in during the weekdays. And guess what happened with Jeff? He lost 55 pounds in 6 months. And he also now, which is amazing, I love this. He actually sent me pictures a couple days ago, but now he's actually running with his kids, like 5Ks, which is phenomenal, right? He used to like not be able to keep up with his kids, whereas now he's like literally running 5Ks with them. And that'll lead me on to my last client here that I want to showcase. Terry, big shout out to you, Terry. He was a 42-year-old executive who thought eating less was the answer, right? And I think oftentimes we often think about, okay, if we want to lose weight, we got to eat less. And yes, that is the case, but we have to be a lot more mindful of this, right? So basically what we did, we actually increased his calories, added a bit more structure within his routine, and we also reduced the stress, because when your stress is really high, your cortisol increases, and cortisol is a catabolic hormone within your body, which just makes you hold on to not only more water weight, but then also over time, more body fat as well. So once we reduced the stress by actually increasing more calories and added more structure within his workouts, he lost 65 pounds and finally had the energy to show up for his family again. And now all three guys that I just listed had one specific thing in common. They stopped blaming the system and started leading their lives on their own, right? So here are my final thoughts to wrap up this live call. You did not choose the role you were born into, right? But you can choose how you respond to it. So if you're ready to actually take responsibility for your body, for your energy, and ultimately for your life, I will personally show you how to do it without giving up your favorite foods or spending hours in the gym. Like most people that we help, like they still eat out at their favorite restaurants. Most of them, I would say 50% of them, don't even have a gym membership. They just do home workouts a couple times a week, right? But like I said, the biggest needle movers is their nutrition and their daily steps, right? If you're eating less calories than you burn with tasty foods, and you actually enjoy the daily steps you do by listening to a podcast, watching a show while you do it, like it'll be so much fun. It'll be so easy for you, right? So what you can go ahead and do is book a free consultation call with me down below, and we'll essentially do three things. Number one, we'll look at your current goal, right? Whether it's losing 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, right? And then we'll look at your current struggle, whether it's lack of structure, lack of accountability, lack of knowledge, or all three of them, right? And then lastly, we'll create a game plan together to help you absolutely crush your goals within the next 3 to 6 months. So, final thoughts here. Because it's not your fault it's raining, it is still your responsibility to grab an umbrella and start walking towards the life you want, right? Hopefully that analogy of like it's raining, it not being your fault, but again, it is still your responsibility to at the very least grab an umbrella in case you don't want to get wet, obviously, right? So I'll let you guys go. Any specific questions for me, just let me know. And yeah, I'll see y'all soon. Peace.